Two movies tonight. Brave the Heights with Charlie Sheen in terminal velocity from 10:30 before we go beyond cyberspace with A World at Risk from Lawnmower Man 2 at 12:25. But before all that action, tonight's top stories with Mark Austin.
New bid to resolve Songat refugee row. Fears for Afghanistan as Vice President is assassinated. And now it's your turn. Sister Serena wins Wimbledon.
The ITV Weekend News with Mark Austin.
Good evening. New plans put forward by the United Nations to resolve the continuing row over the Songat refugee camp got a distinctly lukewarm response from the government today. The UN has offered to screen the asylum seekers to pick out the genuine refugees, but the Home Office insists it's up to Britain and France to sort out the issue. John Draper reports.
The UN proposal is aimed at resolving the long-running dispute over the Songat camp from which hundreds have tried illegally to get into Britain. The idea is that UN officials with experience in dealing with refugees would interview all of the residents at the camp, more than 1,000, and give a definitive judgment on who is and who isn't a refugee.
We believe that a firm, fair and fast assessment which we might be able to undertake might be very helpful in the solution of the problem there.
The aim is to stop scenes like these, huge numbers of people based at Songat trying to use the Channel Tunnel to reach Britain. But while campaigners for refugees welcome the UN initiative, they don't think it's a long-term solution.
You can close the camp, but people will still come trying to get across the channel. And I think unless we have consistent systems across Europe so that refugees get treated in the same way whether in France or in England, I think you'll still have a long-term problem to solve.
The Home Secretary met his French counterpart last month to discuss the camp. They'll meet again in Paris next week, where the UN offer will be high on the agenda. The official line from the Home Office is that the UN offer is welcome, but in the end it's up to the two sovereign governments to resolve the issue. Even so, many believe that UN intervention could help get both countries off the hook on a matter that's severely damaging relations between Britain and France. John Draper, ITV News at the Home Office.
Afghanistan's gradual return to normality suffered a serious setback today with the assassination of the country's vice president. Abdul Qadir was shot dead at his office compound in Kabul. Here, the Foreign Secretary Jack Straw said the killing would not be allowed to undermine efforts to bring peace and stability to Afghanistan. Here's Angus Walker.
The Afghan vice president was leaving the Ministry of Public Works in Kabul when gunmen ambushed his car, killing Abdul Qadir and his driver. His assassins escaped. His bodyguards have been arrested for not preventing the attack. He's the second minister from Afghanistan's fledgling post-Taliban administration to be assassinated. The tourism minister was killed at Kabul airport in February. Britain's foreign secretary says Afghanistan is still relatively secure.
This is a tragic, terrible event, but it has to be set against the really good progress that has been made despite all the problems in Afghanistan in the last 8 months.
Abdul Qadir was a prominent leader of the Pashtun tribe, a minority group in the Afghan government with few seats in the cabinet. Many thought his appointment was designed to improve the ethnic balance of power. His family are said to be shocked. His brother was executed by the Taliban last year. He was a key player in the talks in Bonn in Germany, which led to the creation of Afghanistan's new administration. World leaders have been paying their respects.
Our administration in our country mourns the loss of a man who desired freedom and stability for the country he loved.
But in a country riddled with tribal rivalries and personal feuds, it's likely to be difficult to find out who killed the vice president and why. Angus Walker, ITV News.
And the US military in Afghanistan has admitted civilians were killed in a bombing raid on a remote village, but it maintains its troops were responding to enemy fire. American investigators went to the village to see for themselves the damage caused by the attack. Locals told them 48 people were killed and 117 injured. Here, millions of holidaymakers could have longer to wait at airport check-ins this summer because of increased security. It's thought new rules forcing airlines to gather more information from passengers could add another hour at the airport. The government says it needs to respond to the threat of terrorism, but airlines have condemned the plans as a bureaucratic nightmare. Eating soya products could help women substantially reduce their risk of getting breast cancer. New research suggests a diet high in soya prevents the development of dense breast tissue associated with the disease. Rob Smith explains.
Women who eat foods containing soya, like tofu, as a normal part of their diet, could be up to 60% less likely to have potentially cancerous cells in their breasts. Scientists looked at the soya-rich diet of a group of women in Singapore and then looked at their mammograms. Those who ate the most soya had fewer of the tissue cells which are more prone to cancer. It seems one of the plant's chemicals keeps the female hormone estrogen in check within the body. The hormone's sometimes harmful effects on breast tissue are a major cause of cancer.
Certainly a couple of portions of tofu a week will not do any harm and may well do some good. And the scientists themselves say that the amount of something like tofu that they think might make a difference is just a couple of portions a week.
Soybeans and the vast range of foods they produce have long been reputed to protect against breast cancer. Now scientists believe they've found a definitive link and the beginnings of preventative diets and treatments. Rob Smith, ITV News.
Devastating floods in Texas have left at least 7 people dead and forced thousands more to abandon their homes. Hundreds of houses have been washed away during 5 days of storms and torrential rain, and a major dam near San Antonio is now overflowing. Large parts of the state have been declared disaster areas. 2,000 police officers and troops are on standby in Northern Ireland tonight ahead of tomorrow's Orange Order parade at Drumcree. They've put up barricades and razor wire as a precaution, but so far there's been no sign of trouble. From Drumcree, Mark Webster reports.
Steel barriers now block the road where more than 1,000 Orange Order protesters will be prevented by police from marching through a predominantly Catholic area. To reduce tensions, soldiers will be largely withdrawn, though hundreds of troops will be held in reserve in case of violence. Police say they hope this Drumcree will pass off peacefully.
We have the main protagonists, the Orange Order themselves, calling for only law-abiding, dignified behaviour. They've specifically asked for paramilitary organisations to stay away. We've got the spokespersons for paramilitary organisations saying that they will not be here, not be involved.
And with the police taking the lead in crowd control, the security forces believe that the atmosphere will be better and much less confrontational. If these elaborate precautions prove successful and this year's Drumcree passes off without serious incident, that should augur well for the rest of the marching season. However, tensions are extremely high, particularly in parts of Belfast, and it's feared that almost any incident could be enough to provoke further violence. Mark Webster, ITV News, Drumcree.
Tennis now, and Serena Williams took the women's title at Wimbledon today, defeating her elder sister Venus, the reigning champion, in straight sets. As Graham Miller reports, the younger Williams was in top form right from the outset.
It was a good final and it killed all the talk of conspiracy. This was no predetermined affair. Without doubt, both Venus and Serena wanted to win. The sister act became highly competitive, Venus making it clear she wasn't about to give up her Wimbledon crown without a fight. The crowd watched closely as Serena took control. The first set went to the tiebreak and she found the extra power at the right time. Surprisingly, Venus's serve let her down and Serena never looked back. Wimbledon champion at the age of 20, she gave her older sister a tennis lesson, and the feeling here is the family will all be back doing this again for some years to come.
In the beginning of the year, I said, you know, I don't care what happens this year, I want to win Wimbledon. I just wanted Wimbledon. I wanted to become a member, so much prestige, so much history. I want to be a part of history.
Meantime, David Nalbandian will play Leighton Hewitt in the men's final. The 20-year-old from Argentina is on a journey into the unknown after beating Xavier Melis in the one-set shootout. He's the first player in modern times to reach the final on his Wimbledon debut. While it's all become familiar ground for the Williams family, it's brand new territory in the men's final. Leighton Hewitt has to be favoured after what he's achieved throughout these championships, but David Nalbandian, in his first ever game on centre court, could provide us with one of those finals to remember. Graham Miller, ITV News, Wimbledon.
Motor racing, and Juan Pablo Montoya is on pole position for tomorrow's British Grand Prix at Silverstone. The Williams driver finished just over 0.04 of a second faster than Ferrari's Rubens Barrichello. Michael Schumacher starts in third position on the grid. And you can see that British Grand Prix live here on ITV1. Coverage starts at noon tomorrow. That's tonight's ITV Weekend News. Don't forget you can get the latest on all today's main stories from our website, itv.com/news. And the whole team here. Bye-bye.
Powergen, controlling energy for homes and business.
Hello, good evening. Well, we caught a few showers today, more on the way tomorrow, but the emphasis this weekend is very much on dry weather. Really hope you're able to make the most of it, because I'm afraid by next week it'll be a return to even more rainfall and no sign of anything hot or sunny, I'm afraid. Now back to tonight, and it's very much a case of bits and pieces of rain spilling down the country, just bits and pieces though. Clear skies for Scotland and Northern Ireland, dipping temperatures, very chilly night here, mild further south. Into tomorrow morning, our Sunday morning, on a dry, bright note for the most part. More in the way of cloud down towards the south coast, the odd shower as well, but brightness for most of us during the course of the afternoon. Increasingly though, that brightness becoming confined to eastern parts. Skies cloud over there in Northern Ireland with some rain on the way by the end of the day, and really that's a hint of things ahead for most of us over the next few days. Good news for the Grand Prix at Silverstone though. Things are looking dry and bright, a high of 20.68 in Fahrenheit. Remember, our coverage in ITV1 begins at midday tomorrow. Now let's put this temperature in context. And as far as the rest of the country goes, looking fairly good. High teens, low 20s with only gentle breezes. That's all from me then. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Powergen, controlling energy for homes and business.
Demi Hoban beat 5,000 other kids and won 60% of GMTV's viewers' votes to become Britain's #1 top star. On the eve of the release of her first single, GMTV catches up with her as she embarks on her first publicity tour. A star in the making, all next week on GMTV.
Hello, good evening. I really wish I could have brought you some sunshine today, but I'll wave my magic weather wand and hopefully produce some sunshine tomorrow. Take a look at the details for the rain of this evening and tonight, and it's largely dry. Got some long clear periods around, but a chilly night. Temperatures around 7 or 8 Celsius. The wind's still light from the west. Tomorrow the sun rises at 4:37, setting in the evening at 9:44. Tomorrow, fingers crossed, a nice start, plenty of sunshine. Will tend to become more cloudy through the day. In the afternoon, risk of showers and some rain possibly in the evening. Temperatures up to 19 Celsius and the wind's picking up as well. Have a good night. I'll leave you with a look ahead to Monday.
For a 7-day regional forecast, call the Tyne Tees weather line on 09003 405 440.
Like a good body to start the day off with a flourish.
Every crime has a motive.
Careful, Robbie. Something tells me you're getting ahead of yourself. The situation's changed.
You'd make a great pimp, do you know that? Every body has a history.
You let go a murder suspect.
I just still smell what's underneath.
Also that you can pursue your own personal vendetta.
Listen, you might have sold my inspector some sob story, but I want the truth.
Every team has a weakness.
Give me names, give me places, give me something, give me anything.
Brand new Taggart, Monday at 9, ITV1.
Hey baby, it's DFS. A little bit of comfort for your mum. A great new sofa for your bum. A little tiny price of $4.49. A little bit of got to make you mine. A little bit of snoozing in the day. A little bit of room for friends to stay. A little bit of leather luxury. A little bit of love in my new city. And there's 4 years free credit with nothing to pay for the first year at DFS. Pick me home, Daddy.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
I don't.
Have flashy flunkies everywhere.
I don't.
Who wants the bother of a country estate?
A country estate is something I'd hate.
Who wants to wallow in champagne?
I don't.
And I don't.
'Cause all I want is you.
Ever been somewhere you shouldn't have been? Ever done something you shouldn't have done? Tarrant on CCTV, Sunday at 10, ITV1.
There's still one Englishman on international duty.
But James, I need you.
So does England.
His women are exceedingly posh,
For the gentlemen, vodka martini, shaken, not stirred.
but not always on song.
Can you play any other tune?
And this able seaman never misses an easy pass.
What do you think you're doing? Keeping the British hand up, sir.
00 Heaven continues with The Spy Who Loved Me, Wednesday, ITV1.
Now hold on to your seats as it's all action way up high. Secrets and sabotage in terminal velocity.